Welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I am your host, Cameron, again. I'm joined by my co-host, Jordan.
Oh, what? You sleeping with the electrician too?
You ruined this family! I'm also joined by frequent guest, Grant Mickle.
Howdy, howdy.
Also joined by frequent guest, Clinton Westover.
Ew. Frogging. I'm excited to talk about frogging. Just saying.
I'm sorry, but I'm having fun. I'm not finished playing yet.
That's right. I'm not finished playing.
Oh my gosh, dude. Talk about a creepy movie. Well, today we're reviewing I See You. I See You was made in 2019. It's a crime drama horror. Directed by Adam Randall. Written by Devin Gray. It stars Helen Hunt, John Tenney, Owen Teague.
What a babe.
And
It's not the real Helen Hunt. It's like an alien version
This
of
plastic
Helen Hunt.
version.
Oh my gosh.
it's like dead inside.
She looks so bad in this, dude.
All right. Maybe one too many plastic surgeries. She's
And she was
still awesome in my
Botox or
opinion.
something, dude. Her upper lip did not move the entire movie. It was very
Yeah, I know.
unnatural.
Yeah, she and Princess Leia must hang out, right? Like, this looks
Oh my
ridiculous.
gosh.
No, dude, she doesn't even need to wear the mask, and she's just as scary as the Frogger.
Oh my gosh. I think she's still babe.
Okay. Well, I See You. Just a quick plot synopsis. Says strange occurrences plague a small town detective and his family as he investigates the disappearance of a young boy. And holy cow, does this movie have some twists?
Dude, I loved watching this with Clinton. Halfway through the movie, he's like, I don't know what's going on. And he's like, and the hamster is in the middle of it all.
Yeah. No. And what? Yeah. The first time watching it definitely was like super weird. I kind of wish I got to rewatch it again before the podcast. But so we'll just go around, starting off with you, Clinton. What it was like watching for the first time, and then what it was like rewatching for the podcast if you had the chance.
Just watched it once. Honestly, I thought it was so fun because there were things in the movie where I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why would he do it that way? And then they explain it. Like when there are a lot of points where it's like, why doesn't he call somebody? Isn't he a police officer? Like, you would think that, like, he'd
Right.
call for backup or something. And then after you get the other perspectives, like, I love how it develops and totally twists. And at first it's like, well, this is a nonsense film, but then it's like so awesome. I loved it.
Yeah. Perfect. Jordan, what about you?
Yeah, the first time is such a fun experience. I actually found out about this film through, what are they called? Arrow Video. I'm huge into cult classics, and this one made it to the cult classics like right away, which is shocking because it's it's pretty much new. And so it's amazing that it made it to that list already, but it's so well done. Very fun, amazing first film or feature film. The first time watching it is so much fun because you get to the halfway mark and then it starts over, seeing from somebody else's perspective, suddenly the whole film changes. And so you can't top that first viewing experience. However, watching it with other people who haven't seen it is very fun. Like watching it with Clinton was such a treat, and Alex. Oh my gosh.
I know, you're right. It's like 3 different experiences. At first
Yes.
it's like haunted house, and then it's like frogging, and then it's like serial killer. Like it's like 3 different movies all mixed in together. You're right. It's fun to watch.
Yes.
What
Totally.
about you, Grant?
I really like it because it kind of like, it makes the assumption.
You're not talking about what you liked it. It was what it was like watching it for the first time,
well.
Chip.
Yeah, so I watched it 1.25 times. So I started rewatching it, and then I got distracted. But it was super fun just watching it. Like, I just loved the twists and turns. It made it totally unexpected, and it was fun watching it with our roommates. Like, well, it was like fun and not fun, because like they were kind of like mocking like all the like dramatic parts. They're like, "Ooh, it's a still house with nothing going on. Like, so scary." You're like, "Shut up, just watch the movie, okay?" And so, like,
yeah, because that music,
Yeah.
dude, at times, like, nothing's happening, but the
Yeah.
music's like...
I know, it's so good, but they're just like, they were like trying to make light of it or whatever, but it's fine. So, but it was also really fun, like, seeing the twist, though, and everyone, like, freaking out, so that was pretty fun.
If I was walking through an empty house, though, and I looked at, like, my pictures and saw that some of them were missing, I'd be like,
I
huh.
know.
That's weird. I got start getting nervous too. Where's all my silverware?
It was super enjoyable though. So.
Yeah, so the first time I watched it, ICU had been on my watch list for a couple months, and then our roommates were like, "Hey, we want to watch a movie. What should we watch?" So of course they came to me, and so then I recommended that we watch ICU, and you definitely need to watch this. If you watch it in a group, you kind of need to let them know, like, you might not understand everything, and you kind of like got to take it a little bit more serious, because that was like, obviously there was certain moments that, like, one of our roommates, and especially in the beginning, he was just kind of laughing at kind of Grant was talking about, like, the ominous music without much happening. It's one of my slight nitpicks, but at the same time, if you go in there and kind of like not talking during that, and like kind of just dive in and like into the plot and just kind of like accept that it's a little like ominous and like you don't know a lot, I don't know, I feel like it makes it a lot more intense. But overall, it was so much fun. Like 20 minutes in, we were all like, "Oh, Frank!" And
Well,
then,
it shifts gears from the first. I think the first half, you think it's like, oh, maybe it's a supernatural, like this is an alien movie, because that kid like floats off his bike. You're like, what the crap? Did he just get abducted by aliens?
Yeah, I know.
And then
right?
there's like all these weird things happening in the house.
Reminds me of the Signal, Jordan, when, what's it called, the person just gets picked up, and it's just a quick camera shot. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That person just get lifted up?
It also reminds me of, have you guys seen Housebound? That's very similar, because the opening of Housebound makes you think, oh, at first you're like, oh, is this a horror movie about a ghost haunting a house? And then it just like keeps shifting gears, because it's like constantly changing from, you know, at a certain point in the film, when they release certain amount of information, suddenly the whole film changes.
No, but this is definitely a movie I recommend watching in a group, because it was so much fun watching it with all of us. We were all like shifting who we're cheering for and like yelling for certain people to kill certain people.
Oh no, not him! Oh my god!
Go! And so,
Well, I know at first, because you're like, oh no, like yeah, exactly. Like you want him to. I mean,
you want the cop to turn around and defend himself, and then in the second half of the film, you're like, kill him, swing it faster, sneak up on him. We were like. So that'll kind of just lead us into what are some of our favorite things. Let's start off with Grant. What are two of your favorite things?
Easily the twist. It makes it like, because I read some like commentary on it on the internet and stuff. A lot of people were like, I'm really good at usually like predicting, you know, how movies go, and it seemed like a very like check off the box of every single like, you know, horror film or whatever, and then
Typical
just like
thriller.
Yeah, and then it just completely just like switches it around, and it's such a good twist. But I love too just like just the combination of like the eerie music and the way the camera like moves like throughout the show, like, and a lot of times it's in a position that kind of looks like it's from the point of view of someone like peeking around a corner, and so it's just this like mysterious like what is going on in this house. Like they just did a really good job with like the whole cinematography and everything. So those are my two favorite things.
Steal the best parts, nerd.
Why I went first.
All right. Clinton.
I thought that frog mask was like really cool.
Yeah.
Like legit scary.
Yeah.
And
Can we
and
just
like,
address that the mom saw underneath the bed and just had no reaction? If my son had that, I'd be like, what the fuck is this?
I know. And I love that he was actually in the mask, just laying there watching her,
Yeah.
adding to the creepiness factor on top of it all. Yeah, I thought the mask was really cool, because sometimes in those scary films, it's like, okay, you way overdid the mask, like, but that one, I thought it was a good mask.
That one, like, the simplicity made it scarier, I thought.
Yeah. I like the Frogger character, the teenage guy, because he's actually super complicated watching it. Because at first he's like into frogging, and then he's into messing with people, and then it like turns out that he knew the whole time that he was the kidnapper.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that he's such a piece of crap for not telling that girl who gets murdered.
I know.
And like leading her to her death, basically. I think he's like just as much of a
Nightcrawler
killer
vibes.
as this other guy. You know what I mean? Like, I thought his character was so interesting.
And then you find out that he was one of the kids that was, like, molested by him, so you understand why he has that vendetta against him.
Yeah, but he never told that girl who gets killed. So, yeah, I thought his character was
She
really...
definitely picked the wrong house and the wrong companion to Frog. Holy fudge, man. Out of any other house and any other companion you could have picked, you picked the worst two.
I know.
Yeah. She should have
Pick a
guessed
killer
though.
for
That
both.
guy was weird. He's weird.
Dude, I looked at his him on IMDb, and like he's only in horror movies, and that human being, he's a scary guy. I feel bad for him. Just like Owen Teague, he just straight up looks like an actual serial killer in real life. He reminds me of the kid from Horton Hears a Who, like the black, like super depressed kid in Horton Hears a Who. He's like super glum and like lanky and eerie. Jordan, what about you?
Two favorite things. Obviously, one would have to be Helen Hunt. Her performance.
That's a funny joke,
This
Jordan.
is where we're getting into upgrade, Jordan. You're going to have to tell me why the girl won the Oscar, Jordan, and you won't have any reason except for she's a woman.
No, I loved her in What Women Want, and I'm telling you, she's still awesome today.
If
Okay.
she's even the same person.
She was the alien all along. No, so really what I absolutely love is, I mean, I've already mentioned it, just as they reveal information and they do it all at the right times, and how perfectly those moments are picked. Because it's like, okay, what scene can we pick now to make people think completely different? Like what kind of a movie we're watching? Like, you know, making silverware missing and then seeing images of frames gone, and just all these little details that make you think like, what is happening to this family? And then I love they make you think too that like it could be the other kid because he's mad at his mom for cheating. Like he figured out that his mom's been cheating on the dad. And so when that pot falls on top of that guy's head, she thinks it's the son. And I just love their interaction because...
If you did something, you can tell me, okay?
Yeah, because that interaction, Cameron, changes the second time you watch it. Because the second time you watch it, you're like, when she asks him, says that same thing, you're like, oh my gosh, it wasn't him. Like, but before you think, oh, maybe it is him. He's just angry. But him responding to her, being like, no, like he genuinely like didn't know what she was talking about. It's just, anyways, so many good moments. This movie is like, it's crazy to see. I would have thought seeing the same thing twice would have got boring, but it's amazing that seeing something from somebody else's perspective makes the movie almost even better, because it elevates it, and it also gives you like a completely different view of the entire situation. Like Cameron mentioned, you're rooting for the same guy you were rooting for to not get killed. You're rooting for him to get killed. Like, it's amazing.
You want that axe to go faster into his head.
So props for this movie. I mean, I understand now why it's already a cult classic. It's great.
Absolutely, yeah. There's just so many different aspects that I like about it. I think if I had to break it down for two, for me, I mean, obviously Grant kind of talked about the cinematography and the music, but one thing I really loved is it kind of reminded me of the movie Vantage Point, and so I loved the unpredictability, like of how unpredictable this movie was, because that's the thing that I really enjoyed. Is like, some people kind of like, some of my roommates were bothered by it as like the fact that a lot of times it'd be like super eerie music, nothing happening, or like super eerie music, and then it's just like the postman or like the handyman. But like, I enjoyed that because then it made you be like, you don't know what's gonna happen, and you just like, you don't know like anyone who's good, who's bad, and like what like they're capable of. And so I really enjoyed that because it kept me on my toes and the edge of my seat the entire movie. And then my second favorite thing is just the ending. I don't know. I'm always bothered a lot of times when there's like a super cliche ending or like a monologue near the end. And I just love how he's just like, he just tries to talk to him and he's just
Like when I was a boy, I was like, I don't effing care.
Yeah, just
Dude, that was my
It
favorite.
reminded me a lot of Wolf of Snow Hollow, where he just freaking turns around and just unloads like 6 bullets in his face, and I'm just like, let's go, baby! Like, not taking any chance. He double tapped him, dude. Freaking finally, people in thriller movies are starting to take me and Grant's advice of double tap, dude. No one ever does, and that's always gets them killed.
When I was a boy. Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Perfect. So, any nitpicks? Obviously, besides Helen Hunt's
Yeah,
face.
that was my
Oh
only
my
one.
gosh. Jeez. You guys are the worst.
It distracts from the movie, honestly.
No. I hope she keeps
Yes,
getting
it
work.
does.
They need to make a part 2 of this movie. Bring her back.
my only gripe is like, I almost wanted it to be longer, but like I'm so happy because it ended so well, but like it's like it ends and I'm like, oh freak, I want more. Like I honestly, it's kind of similar to Wolf of Snow Hollow, where it's like I want more, but at the same time I don't want them to add more to make it less like of a masterpiece. So
or just make
definitely
a sequel or something, dude. Because
I don't know, man. Sequels are always hit or
that's
miss.
true.
Really, usually miss.
It's true.
Well, then I'm just excited for whatever this director makes next. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Because if he keeps making fun movies like this, holy crap, we're in for a treat.
Was there any other movies that were similar to this that reminded you guys of?
I already mentioned.
Vantage Point and George.
Yeah, I mentioned Housebound. It's also a very fun indie film.
Grant, any ones that this reminds you of?
Not that I could
Or
think of.
Clinton?
I have to tell you really quick. So I had Alex and Clinton last 3 nights watch 3 movies kind of like this. I'm like, and now they're like super paranoid about their kids, getting kidnapped. I showed
Did
them.
you have them watch Prisoners?
Prisoners.
Yeah.
Oh my
No,
god!
you should not have
dude.
showed them
Never
Prisoners.
show a
That's
parent
terrible.
that, dude.
And then I showed them
man.
ICU.
If you like ICU, watch Prisoners. It's ICU 10 times better.
Yeah.
And that's coming from, I loved ICU.
Oh, Searching. We also saw Searching about another kid going
you're
missing.
right, yeah.
Oh man.
I'm sure they're sleeping perfectly fine at night now. Any favorite quotes? Favorite quote sections?
I think we said most of them.
Yeah. Just the end
It's not
scene.
really a quote movie, Like,
Yeah.
they're not like, yeah, I'm going to kill you, and then they kill him. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
he does say,
Yeah.
I don't effing care
like
at the very
that
end.
one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
he
but-
says, listen, you've got to know, when I was a kid, my father would. And he's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Blows his brains.
Well, surprisingly, that's only one of I think 8 F words. Like it was almost. If they had just cut a couple of those, it would have been PG-13, right? Or maybe the subject matter is too mature. But
Nah.
I don't know.
There's
though. I
some
feel like there's-
PG-13s, dude. They're pretty heavy.
Yeah.
okay, Searching was PG-13.
It wasn't really that violent. It was more just psychological thriller kind of.
I'd never heard of frogging before, though.
Yeah. Did you guys know about it before this movie?
No.
I didn't know it was an actual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. I looked it up, but apparently it's a real thing.
Yeah. It's
I
kind of
could,
scary.
I could see how that could be incredibly exciting and all that, but at the same time, really dangerous
Well,
and
totally.
also really boring. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
a weird mix of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's one thing that I think is super interesting. I think what the film does really good is that, like, that's why I think we kind of are, like, so on edge, is because it's kind of, like, literally in our home territory, so it kind of hits home for everybody a little bit different. Because usually when you see, like, horror movies or whatever, it's, like, at a camp or, like, something like that, or it's, like, in some crazy place. But it's, like, these people are just literally just sneaking into your home, and it's, like, what the fudge? They're just literally living in your guest bedroom. It makes me want to, every single time I go home now to visit our parents, makes me want to check the
Yeah,
guest room
because they've got a big
outside.
house.
In the attic,
Yeah.
the little attic doors and everything.
No, that's why I have my Nazi closet freaking locked, dude, from the inside. I ain't taking chances with people living in our attic.
Alex said that during the movie. She's like, I'm kind of worried about getting a big house now.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That's what's called in Sherlock. They have a scene where it's like just a bunch of glass windows or whatever, and then there's like he sees something moving in the distance, and like the lights all turn on at the exact same time and then turn off. It's so freaking intense. It makes me like never want to go near glass windows at night ever. But I didn't really feel like there was much of a deeper meaning besides like a lot of stuff depends on your point of view, and like a lot of people aren't who they seem to be.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a solid recommendation. Like I was super excited to watch it with Alex and Clinton because I knew they hadn't seen it, and I know probably not a lot of people have. So it's a fun one to
Yeah.
recommend because not a lot of people have seen it. It kind of reminds me of Disturbia as well.
It kind of the Disturbia kind of twist and like what's going on and stuff like that. That is a really good one too. Any other last comments?
Well, I just think they did a good job of, like, in the beginning, they were kind of ignoring a lot of facts, but I feel like they did a good job of kind of having the central theme of, like, the contention within the family was, like, kind of blinding them to everything that was going on. Because, like, the guy mentioned, he's like, oh, your daughter let me in. And she's like, what? And then, like, he left, and then...
Yes, that's
and then,
another
like,
detail I
then
love.
she's talking to the husband, and then she's like, the guy said he let a daughter in, like, but and I think he stole some stuff, and he's like, what, he stole some stuff? And so they go off on the tangent of stealing the stuff. They don't even mention like the daughter or anything, you know. And then like she sees him
And he's
under
like,
the
why would he
bed.
steal our crappy silverware?
I know, right? And then like she sees the mask under the bed, and he's literally like under the bed right there. And then the son's just like, are you gonna leave? Like, are you done here? You know, so it's like all that contention kind of like drives him away from like the actual problem inside, which I thought was kind of interesting.
And can we address the fact that my man was cutting out freaking the faces of the pictures? Holy fudge! If I didn't understand, literally, I love how the moment we figure out the other guy's a serial killer, we just throw out the fact that he's actually still an insane child. Like, but we just automatically root for him because we're like, he's the worst guy. He's like a pedophile. We just throw out the window like the fact that he's the creepiest person just living, like watching them peeing on people while they sleep. Like, what the fuck? Drugging his own frogging partner. Dude, if I was her, the moment I woke up from that like deep sleep and be like, where were you? And he's like, oh, it's like you finally woke up. I'd be like, I'm out of here, dude. You're crazy.
And when he turned to her and said, I'm not done, like that's what I'd be like, all right, peace, nerd.
Like, oh, okay, I gotta go. Oh man. But yeah, the movie does such a good job at. That's why I enjoy watching it in a group, because you're like, usually when you watch it in a group, you're very vocal, like who you're cheering for, and so I love it because we're shifting like so much, and so it's just a really fun overall watch with the group. Would you guys recommend this?
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely.
For sure.
100%. Yeah, this is super good. It's even a good date film. It's pretty tame R, and lots of good twists and turns.
I definitely think this is even worth a second watch, because like the little bit that I started to rewatch, it was kind of cool because like I saw how when the cop goes to one of the kids who had escaped and like his face had been burned, so like the cop and the dad go visit this guy. The guy turns around, he starts screaming like, no, 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 no. So he saw the actual guy because he was the one who had kidnapped him. But I'm sure that like he had, you know, like done so much psychological damage to him that he was like, you know, never going to tell anyone who he was, you know.
Well, and probably told him, if you ever tell anyone, like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it's like, I don't know, just rewatching it, I think is really cool. Like knowing the end, being able to have everything explained. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, dude. And talk about what's called, it was so funny. Literally, while we were watching, my favorite moment was one of my roommates was like, dude, what a Christ-like man. Like, he's like taking care of the body of his wife who just cheated on him and taking care of it. And then you find out that he's the one that fetched knocked that dude out and killed him. And you're like, oh my gosh. And he's like going to bury him in like his little like RV that he's hiding children. You're like, oh, he's the farthest thing for Christ-like, dude. Holy crap. Oh,
yeah, and I love too that how like evil he is, because he's like blaming it on the son, like making his wife think the son had killed the guy, remember, with the bat, like he hit him with the bat, but she's like, I think it was our son that killed him, and it was like, no. Yeah, what a sicko. And he's like, now we gotta bury.
I love seeing her perspective then when she like sees it happen.
Yes.
She's like, and I love it. I was thinking about this, and I'm like, if she were to report this to the cops, how do you explain yourself? So I was living in this person's house without them knowing, and I saw him kill somebody. It's like, wait, what?
And she woke up in the car with him, dude. What a terrible way to wake up. You're like, oh crap.
We were all like, dude, do not like hit him because he swerves. You die too. It's like, oh man, do you want to die like taking out a serial killer? I mean, I guess that might be the move. Well, we're also joined, before we get off here, we're joined by Ty Christensen, former host, no longer, ever again.
Wait, 1 second. Let Clinton do what he's seen lately and what he's looking forward to, and then you can dip out.
Oh man, you just named all the movies I've seen lately. Yeah, Prisoners, and what was the name of that one where you're on the computer? Yeah, the one Searching where you're just watching someone on a computer. That was really good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
We're going to do that on the pod eventually.
Yeah, the whole concept of that, I was like, are we seriously going to watch someone like search the web for 2 hours?
It's amazing.
Yeah, that was really good.
Let us
What
know
were
your thoughts on
Prisoners?
Prisoners.
Oh, thoughts on Prisoners? Yeah, I thought that everyone's acting was amazing. Like Jake Gyllenhaal, like is this Twitch thing that he had going on, like the whole time. I didn't find it distracting at all. I thought it was like legit added to his character.
That scene when he says they didn't scream when I took them.
I know.
Dude, that gives me chills. You're like, and then Hugh Jackman's like, oh, I kill you.
I know.
Everyone's like, oh, you're beating up on a handicap first. You're so evil. And I'm just like, you didn't hear what he heard.
Okay, I just want to say really quick, when I was watching it with Clinton and Alex, like halfway through the movie, when Jake Gyllenhaal's just sitting in the car and he's spying on Hugh Jackman, Clinton's just like, Jake Gyllenhaal is amazing.
That's why he's the best actor of all time, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it because of course Hugh Jackman's gonna like go like attack this guy who basically admitted to taking his kids. So Jake Gyllenhaal's like, crap, he was supposed to be watched. Like, I love that whole thing. Like he's the only one that really knows what's going on in the whole movie.
One of my favorite scenes in that movie is when they fetching is walking the little dog and he picks it up. He's like, oh, 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 oh.
Yeah.
And then
Do
he
you like
lets it
little
down
animals
again.
getting
I'm like,
tortured, Cameron? What the fudge?
No, because it shows how creepy and psychotic he is, and then you later understand like why he is the way that he is, and he's like the maze, and then like they
Fucking
throw you up
lady,
for that
dude.
whole loop of like the what's it called? I need to rewatch it. I've only seen it once, but it stuck with me. Like every part of like when they throw you for the loop with the copycat with the snakes, and you're just like, what the fudge? The creepiest dude ever.
Yeah, like there's a lot to say about Prisoners.
Oh, yeah.
Just all around.
We're doing
everyone,
a podcast about it because
yeah.
there's too much to say.
Hugh Jackman was amazing. Like everyone was amazing in that film.
Yeah, it's my top 10 films of all time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mine too. It's a perfect film.
It's a masterpiece. Definitely, if you have children, don't watch it. I don't recommend it if you have children. You will never want to let them out of your sight. Ty, you want to give us your thoughts on ICU?
Just real quick, I love the I love the frogging concept. I'm so dumb. When I watched it the first time, I was like, oh, okay. Frogging is like teleportation. This is like Jumper, because the video they showed when he's like, what is frogging, and he looks up online and there's like a guy glitching all over the place, and I was like, ooh, like it is supernatural. And I didn't get it that it was like the lag in the video, so I thought because they tease supernatural the whole movie, right?
Yeah.
And then you find out like, and that's why I thought he was like jumping around like to parts of the house, like on the roof and everything. So I'm so stupid. Like, and then I finally get, I'm like, oh no, like these, and then like it kind of started clicking when they go back and show him. I'm like, I kept waiting for the teleportation to happen. I'm like, oh no, wait, they're just people that live in people's homes without them knowing. Got it. Okay.
Which is
Because
honestly
they spelled it
worse.
with a PH. I thought it was like phantom and frogging or whatever. I still don't know why they spell it with a PH. Is it because of their phantom frogs, right? They're not seen.
Probably.
See, I don't get it. They spell
Oh,
it
I
with a
didn't even
PH,
think
and
of
they
that.
literally mention it in the movie. They're like, it's frogging, not like... Anyway, I was confused. I also feel really bad. Bless Helen Hunt. I think she's an amazing
Oh my
actress.
gosh, we already
What is it with Hollywood's
bashed
obsession
her,
that
yeah.
make people look like Michael Jackson? I'm sorry, Botox and nose
gosh.
jobs and all these things. It breaks my heart. Like, bless her heart. I hope she finds love. I hope her husband still loves her, or wife, whatever, whoever she's married to, still loves her, because when I see people getting changed like that, I'm just like, was it the institution that made you do that? Or, like, did you want to do that? And you should sue the plastic surgeon that did that to you, because you done look horrifying, girl. You done look horrifying. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
everyone here bashed her except me.
Really? I
We
was
all
like,
said it was her- it was our
and it's
favorite
not
part
only her.
is the horror aspect
I
of
watched
her.
Bird Box, and I was like, Sandra Bullock, what on earth did you do to
Yeah.
yourself? I was so distracted by her nose. I was like, is this demon gonna affect her
Oh my
nose at
gosh.
one point? Like, I literally was like, I know this has to do with sight, but maybe she's
Did
gonna
you see
smell it, but-
Casino? Martin Scorsese's Casino?
Yes.
Pesci?
Yes, on to-
Dude, he did Botox, and so his whole face looks so stretched. Like, he looks so weird.
I thought that was Irishman. Maybe he did it for Casino.
Well, he did it for
as
Casino,
well.
and then obviously years later, probably did it again. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Like I said, there's so many things to say about this movie. I loved it though. I think it's really great. The first time I watched it, it was Housebound meets Prisoners
Yes.
meets Don't Breathe meets Hostage meets The Outsider.
oh
So I literally put all those movies, and I know that all of you are thinking right now, like, what?
no,
is that
I said
different each of those?
Housebound as well, Ty.
Yeah, yeah, and it does a good job at keeping you guessing whether it's supernatural or not. Like at the very beginning, the boy gets flown off his bicycle. You don't see the wire. There's really clever things like that. But one thing I had a quick question on: why did the kid have a pocket knife? Is because it was his pocket knife, right? Like that the guy gifted him originally, and he kept it all those
I
years.
thought he grabbed one.
Did he just grab one? I think it was his, right? Because he gifted him one at the very beginning. Well, technically it's at the end reveal, but when he was a child, when the cop originally came to him, he gave him a green.
Yeah, because where would he have gotten?
And
He
thought it was
could have
him
just
because
bought
he had the
another green one,
Yoshi
but it was probably the one that was
dispenser,
gifted to
and he
him.
had it in his back pocket, and he handed him a green pocket knife. So I'm assuming that he kept it all those years, and then stabbed it in the bar of soap. Like, hey, I just messed with your son.
Can you imagine
also,
being
what did
a
he do to
serial
his
killer?
son? Did he give him drugs? Did he give him?
Yeah, that's
something?
what I was
Did he have a
wondering. He
seizure?
must have just, I don't know, knocked him out or something.
Well, he drugged his frogging partner with something to make her sleep. So I'm guessing it was like Ambien or something.
Well, yeah,
right?
he used the wife because the wife is like a psychiatrist or whatever. So he used the drugs that the wife was taking, her sleeping pills.
No. It was the drugs.
No, for the frogging
the husband was taking.
companion.
The husband was
I think it was
taking
the
it.
And the
husband
husband was
was
taking
taking
her drugs.
Oh.
If you pay attention, nerd.
Could be. But
And
you
so
know,
no,
she's a therapist.
Dude,
I like it when
imagine being a
when
serial killer
therapists
and
have
your calling
problems.
card being used against you. I would be so shook. I'm like, what the fudge?
I also really liked it. One other thing, when the husband, like when the wife comes down, she's like, "Oh, he did it," and then he was like, he lashed out because he was angry. I love when he like plants that one sentence in there right after she's like, "I think it was her son," and he's like, she like fell for it, and he's like, "Yeah, he lashed out of anger." Or something. It was just so conniving. This husband is the worst. He's a piece of crap. In fact, is it the guy from Office Space? That is the same actor, right? Because I keep thinking it's the same actor. Is it not the same actor?
No,
from
it looks
Office
like
Space?
him. It's not.
It looks so much like him. That's crazy. It's not him. Could be his freaking brother. Anyway, so yeah, lots of love for this movie. I'm an idiot. The first time I didn't get it, and I thought it was really clever. Like at the very end, I literally had to look up like what was meant by the Pez dispenser because I didn't see it the first time. I saw it at the very end, but I was like,
Oh.
what's the
Yeah,
meaning of
he
it?
was eating
Because
Pez.
it ended and it shows the kid, and I'm like, oh, it's the same kid. Like I didn't get that. So yeah, it did remind me of Prisoners in that regard because just obviously for that movie, I won't spoil that one, but really good callbacks.
The whistle?
Small subtle details that you miss. Well, I was thinking of
The maze?
using a victim that okay, like urinating on someone. You're like, okay, this kid has issues. You know, he's messed up. You know, taking a leak on the guy. You know, making it think. I'm like, this guy's sadistic, and then you're like, oh, like this is revenge. Like
and
it's
like
so good.
taking a leak on the serial killer rapist that like molested you as a child.
Yeah, it's like a really weird thing, but then like it all gets explained at the
Yeah.
end, so that's nice.
And then it all makes sense.
So,
You're just like, at first you're like, this kid's sick, and then you're like, oh.
yeah. So I love the concept of frogging because see, I love the movie Don't Breathe. I love horror movies.
Yes.
I love them. I love good thrillers, and I love twists. So this movie, amen, did everything really, really well.
Maybe he's the new M. Night Shyamalan type.
Has he done anything else? I haven't even seen.
Have you
his
seen
director's
M. Night
work yet.
Shyamalan's coming out with a new movie?
Yeah, old.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, speaking of old, I gotta watch Servant. I know they have another episode out.
I gotta watch that too.
It's a fun show. Anyway, that's all I really have to say about ICU.
Well, would you recommend it, Ty, before we go to Grant's?
Yes, I definitely recommend this movie. This is a really fun one, and it's weird because I watched it again, even knowing the twist and everything. It was still really enjoyable. Not in so much of the scares, but it's really fun to share with other people.
Yeah,
It's
especially
one of
if they
those
haven't
fun
seen
movies
it.
I like to, yeah.
Hey, Grant, what have you seen lately, and what are you looking forward to? Playing too many video games?
No, dude, I watched Grizzly Man. That was actually really,
Yes!
really interesting.
Such-
Grizzly Man? Oh my
So
gosh.
good.
No. Fetching talking to a grizzly like that, dude, like the sass of that guy.
He is so funny. And then he just like starts cussing out the government and just society. He's like, "You're killing all the bears." Like, F you. He is
Such a
so
good
funny,
documentary.
dude. Yeah, it's super good.
Dude, that movie is so good. I'm so glad you watched it.
Yeah.
you see it, Cameron?
I watched it. Well,
No. Grant wants to watch it.
the reason I watched it is because I watched Lights Out at like 2 o'clock in the morning by myself, and it was like freaking
Lights Out's
scary
great.
as crap, dude. And then so I was too scared. I was like, I can't go to bed right now, so I'm gonna watch a very mellow movie. So I watched Grizzly Man. So,
Did you watch the whole thing?
but yeah,
Isn't it a depressing
Yeah, it's super
ending?
good.
I think it's so sad.
I'm trying to remember the ending.
Grant was laughing. He was holding back the tears from his joy.
He got
How does
eaten,
it-
him and his
Swift
girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
How do you not remember the ending?
Well,
They-
I know how he died,
It's
but
like,
they,
yeah,
they
is he
showed that
still
at
up
the
there?
beginning though.
Yeah, I already knew he was gonna die. Did you guys not think he was going to die? Like, you
No,
know
I
he's
knew
going
he
to
had
die.
died.
Like,
You'd explained that to me before I watched it.
And we spoiled them all.
Grant, they're just devastated. They think like this was completely avoidable, which is why it makes it so funny and sad.
Well, it was funny too, cause like they interviewed one of the airplane guys, and he was like, "Yeah, I think he's like personally, I believe that he got what he deserved. He got it coming." I was like, "Oh my gosh, dude!" Like a lot of the people like the one dude was like, "Yeah, I think he was actually doing more harm than good," and I was just like, "Okay, like I don't know, it's just interesting why they kept that in the cut, you know, like." I thought it was just
Yeah,
really
it
all
doesn't.
positive
It
about
doesn't
it, you know?
pretend. Yeah, not everyone agreed with what he was doing.
Yeah, so
Anything you're looking forward to, Grant, before you dip off?
nothing really looking forward to.
All right, Cheap, we love you, Nugget.
Yeah.
Hey, Ty, you want to wrap it up?
Cameron, you finish this out, man. This has been your podcast.
No, I tell you, you're totally fine. Just finish it.
I really didn't mean anything by it. Leave us a review, 5 stars, please. Share us on all your social media sites
Check us out
before
on
they shut us
Spotify.
down permanently and silence us. This
Silence.
is Futro. Oh, write us your emails, whether movies you'd like us to review or if we're missing the most quintessential parts of your favorite movies. Write us an email, futromovies@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. This is Futro Hidden Movie Gems signing out. Peace.
Bye.
I'll see you later.
I'm not done playing.
Frogging with a PH.